the Toyota, lights ablaze. Make sure the slower cars see them. Here we go. Oh my God, the Mercedes has taken off. That's Peter Dumbreck at the wheel of the number 5 Mercedes. Shock and horror and amazement in the Mercedes garage. And there is Dumbreck's car. Flat.
Le Mans is the most dangerous race in the world. The speeds cars reach there can hit 300 kilometers, and any mistake, even the tiniest one, can cost lives. Still, every car manufacturer sees it as their duty to bring home the Le Mans trophy. Mercedes felt the same way. In 1998, they dominated the FIA GT Championship, crushing the competition and winning all 10 races. But the real prize, Le Mans, was claimed by Porsche. After that sweet victory, Porsche shut down their Le Mans program, while Mercedes, on the other hand, went all in. They were determined to prove they were the best, and the best company needed the best car. That's when it was born a monster built to tear up the competition on the straights, the Mercedes-Benz CLR. The idea was simple: minimum drag, maximum downforce, maximum speed. It was an insanely beautiful, aggressive-looking car, like something ripped from the blueprint of a fighter jet. The engineers went all out. Short wheelbase, extremely low profile, all for maximum downforce. But there was a downside. The car had very long front and rear overhangs. The engineers were laser focused on making the car unbeatable on straights, but they forgot about one critical thing, and it would come back to bite them hard. But let's rewind a year. Mercedes wasn't the first team to accidentally launch a car into the air. In 1998, Porsche went to America to take on the local version of Le Mans. Since Mercedes wasn't competing, Porsche expected an easy win, or so they thought. The leading Porsche was about to lap a Jost Racing prototype when, instead of moving left or right to pass, it suddenly took off into the air. The driver was unharmed, but the crash looked absolutely terrifying and came out of nowhere. The accident happened due to a few factors, one being the design of these race cars. Their body shape acts like a wing, which can generate lift. Normally, aerodynamic elements like diffusers and rear wings counter this by pressing the car to the ground. But if the conditions are wrong, the lift can overpower the downforce. That's exactly what happened. The Porsche got too close to the prototype ahead and slipped into its wake, the slipstream. This disturbed the airflow under the car, lifting the nose, throwing off the diffuser's efficiency, and killing the downforce. Meanwhile, the rear wing kept pressing the back down, making the nose lift even more until the car lost all grip and took off. And why am I telling you all this? Because clearly, the Mercedes engineers didn't study Porsche's crash too well. On top of the long overhangs, they made the rear suspension too soft. They were trying to kill two birds with one stone. Tilt the car's nose slightly down for better downforce in corners, and make it more stable on straights by cutting drag. Yeah, from the very beginning, it felt unsettling. The CLR would start rocking on the straights, the front end lifting during acceleration and braking, like the car was moments away from losing contact with the ground. On smooth tarmac, you could just about keep it under control. But Le Mans isn't a perfectly smooth circuit. It's 13 kilometers long, and parts of it run on regular public roads. Bumps, dips, uneven patches here, they're not a flaw, they're part of the rules. And together, they were the perfect recipe for a disaster that was already closing in. But Mercedes had an even bigger problem, the final piece of the disaster puzzle. The thing was, Mercedes was still slower than their competitors, and the team was under massive pressure. Another loss at Le Mans was simply not an option. During testing at Hockenheim, they realized the car lacked top-end speed. With little time left before Le Mans, they decided to reduce downforce to gain speed. At the time, it seemed like a good idea, but it turned out to be a catastrophe. During Thursday night qualifying, Mark Webber, trying to pass an Audi at nearly 300 kilometers, took off flipping 3 times in the air. Miraculously, he wasn't seriously hurt and crawled out of the wreckage, but was sent to the hospital. Problem is, there were no cameras filming it. The team didn't believe him. A car can't just flip into the air. Maybe if they'd listened to Mark back then, they could have avoided what came next. On Saturday morning, during the warm-up session, Webber was cleared to drive the rebuilt car. He was determined to win Le Mans. Half a lap into the session, at around 280 kilometers, Mark was catching up to an Oreca Dodge Viper, heading towards a slight crest on the Mulsanne Straight. Right at the top, the front end lifted again. All he could see through the windshield was the sky, then the ground.
I couldn't get the front of the car back down at that speed, and I did flip and saw the sky on the ground and the sky on the ground. So it was a horrible experience, and the car was very, very good in terms of the impact. It's very, very safe, but obviously those cars were dangerous in that.
The car landed roof first. In a panic, fearing he'd be trapped inside, Webber instinctively unbuckled his seatbelts mid-crash. Even without them, the car kept sliding down the track, picking up speed, hitting about 140 kilometers.
So these cars were dangerous. They aerodynamically were unstable at high speed, particularly when you're behind another car. So that hump in the road now is one of the fastest parts of the track. So we're looking at about 215 mile an hour. So they've actually now shaved the top of that hump off, so it's much more gradual. And I'm thinking at this point,
After the second crash, Mark Webber wanted to get the hell out of France immediately, but team boss Norbert Haug asked him to stay for the driver's parade. Reluctantly, he agreed. The team didn't plan to pull out of the race. They believed the cars were safe. They quickly added small front winglets to boost front end stability and ordered drivers to avoid getting too close to other cars to stay out of their slipstream. Webber was exhausted, so right after the driver's parade, he went straight to his trailer to pack his things. There was no television in the trailer to follow the race, so he had no idea what was happening on the track.
And up to the start line, and straight away it's go. It's 4 o'clock on Saturday. The Le Mans 24 Hours gets underway, and straight into the expected lead goes Martin Brundle, followed by Thierry Boutsen, with Bernd Schneider.
Then came the call. On lap 75, as the car approached the Indianapolis corner, another Mercedes took off, this time with Scottish driver Peter Dumbreck behind the wheel. The whole team was in shock. The only remaining car was immediately called into the pits. Even though one of the trees had literally speared the gap between Dumbreck's seat and the fuel tank, he somehow escaped unharmed. And that was it. Mercedes packed up the number 6 car and quit endurance racing. Still, something good came out of it. After those terrifying crashes, Le Mans organizers changed the rules. Minimum overhang sizes were reduced, and by 2000, the LMGTP class was gone. A year later, they even reshaped the track, slicing down the crest, where Webber's Mercedes first took flight. If you found this interesting, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. There's plenty more motorsport stories to come.